Soulframe is finally available for download, and so I had to chuck it onto my Steam Deck and check it out on my OLED. And I will show you how to do that in this video, as well as my graphical settings for a solid-ish 40 FPS. It drops slightly, but I would prefer that with one particular setting. So once we get through the installation, I'll show you my graphic settings and my first initial thoughts of this title, as I've put about an hour in. All right, let's crack into it. Head over to desktop mode. You do that by pushing the Steam button and then going to desktop. From there, you'll need to download a web browser, and you can do that from the Discover store. Head over to the Soulframe website and download it. It will end up in your downloads folder, as you can see here, Soulframe. And what we're going to do is we're going to add this to Steam. But as you see here, when you pull the left trigger on your Steam Deck, it does not come available, as it does here with this EEXE. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into Steam, and down the bottom here you'll see add game to Steam, add non-Steam game, and then you're going to click on the browse button, head over to your downloads folder, and then from here you're still not going to see it. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the folders, and we're going to go show all, and then it pops up. We're going to go ahead and add that to Steam, and then go add. And then we're going to head over to our library here. And then we're just going to search for Soulframe. You can bring up the on-screen keyboard by holding the Steam button and pushing X. And then use the trackpads or fingers or whatever you like to search for the Soulframe file here. Once we've found that, you can see I've already installed it once. So I'm doing a second install just for you guys. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to click on the little cog. We're going to head down to Properties. And we're going to go to Compatibility. We're going to force Proton, and we're going to put it on Experimental. And after this, we're going to push play. And this was going to take a wee bit of time. I'm going to probably cut some of this and fast forward it. But it will eventually pop up with a menu of where it wants to install the title. And what you want to do is follow this very particular path, so you can put it in your documents folder or on your SD card if you prefer, but I'm just putting this in my documents folder on my Steam Deck. So to do this, we're going to go to the dash, and then we're going to go down to home, deck, and then from here you can drag this out, and you can put it wherever you want. I'm putting it in my documents folder, but you can store it wherever you like. And to navigate this with the mouse, you're going to be having to hold the Steam button and use the trackpad and triggers, because it thinks we're playing a game that goes into like controller mode. So you just need to hold Steam to allow you to use the mouses on the trackpad. And then we're just going to open here and then pick a folder, and we'll just do that. And there we are. It's going to install into that folder. And then this is going to take a wee bit of time. Again, here we're just going to accept the thing, and it's going to start its download eventually. And this will just be dependent on your internet speed. I've got pretty fast internet, and this still took a wee while to download. So let this do its thing, and once it's installed, we'll continue on. Once it finishes installing, it's going to do its thing. It's going to disappear for a minute here. As you can see, it will come back. Just give it a minute. It'll putter around, and you're going to come to the screen here. This will take a wee bit as well, as it's doing something in the background, and it'll eventually pop up with your login information to put in your username and password. From there, what you want to do is just use, by holding the Steam button again, just close out of this. And we'll do this in game mode, because trying to bring up the keyboard in desktop mode while it's in this window, it does not seem to respond. Unless you plug in a keyboard, you could always plug in a USB keyboard or Bluetooth keyboard if you wanted to, but it's easier just to close out of this and go back to game mode, and we can finish off the installation. Well, the installation is basically done. We can then go back to game mode and set our video settings and play some Soulframe. So this is just back in game mode, and then go ahead and bring up the keyboard to log in. You just hold the Steam button and push X, just like in desktop mode, and that'll let you bring up the keyboard to log in. And from there, it'll go through the intro movie, and you can start playing. but I'm just going to jump forward and show you my video settings. So once you get through the opening cinematic and you're in game, it's going to be set, the settings are going to be a bit wonky. It's going to be at like 512. You may have to keep redoing your video settings every time you log in. I found it hasn't been saving, but it takes you 10 seconds. As you can see here, it sets it to 960 by 8. So it's just this weird thing. So I just make it borderless full screen. I've got it set to 16 by 10. None of this will be set correctly when you do it. And I've put the max frame rate at 40. I've turned on FSR 2.2 and put it on quality mode. Everything on here is on medium in that first lot of settings. 2 times anti-trophic filtering. But this main one here is dynamic lighting. This here is what's going to kill your frame rate. It initially will load with that turned off. And you're going to get really high frame rates. But have a play for yourself with that setting, with the dynamic shadows, because for me, having them turned off, the game looks quite a lot worse in terms of visual fidelity. I think it loses its soul, if you might say so myself, a little bit, having them turned off. Turn them on, the game, as you can see here, looks, I think, really nice. So my personal recommendation is to go for a wobbly 40. It'll drop into the mid-30s and then back to 40. Again, this is at the very start of the game, so I don't know once you get into dungeons or into bigger fights with a lot more dynamic stuff happening, how that frame rate's going to hold up. This is just my very first initial thoughts on the title. It seems to be holding a reasonable 40 with minor drops. But if you really don't want those minor drops, turn off those dynamic shadows and you'll be in the high 50s straight off the bat. Especially with FSR 2.2 turned on. While it's not the newest version of FSR, it actually looks, I think, pretty reasonable. I'm not a very big fan of FSR, to be honest. I'm pretty much always against it. But in this title, I actually think it doesn't break up too much and it looks okay. You could turn it off and use the game's built-in dynamic resolution scaling. I haven't tried that yet. Maybe that'll be something I try out. I don't even know if it's enabled in this version of the demo. So yeah, just go back, have a look through my settings if you want to copy them, and that's on my OLED, and I'm having a great time with those settings. But onto my initial thoughts of the title itself. As a very first impression, I like this more than Warframe for the simple fact it's slower. I don't have to do any jumping, I don't have to do anything weird, and you get stuff like this.
By Odin Rain, this beast we claim.
In traditional Digital Extremes fashion, everything is super obscure about the story, which still kind of annoys me, which is the same problem I have with Warframe. Is it just is really hard to follow. It's funny because something like Elden Ring or a Dark Souls game is also obtuse when it comes to its story, but I don't mind. But for some weird reason with these games, I find it really annoying that they make it, it feels purposely obscure for no point. But the gameplay is really solid. So you have a fast attack on your R1, you have a heavy attack on your R2. Pulling the left trigger gives you your access to your abilities, like on X, Y, and B. And then left bumper is your block. And you also have like dashes, and I think you have a dash on your B, if I'm remembering correctly. You have jump on A, and X is like your interact button. I'm not 100% sure on what Y does at this very moment. I can't remember. It gives you a few choices when you start a new game. I picked the fighter class, but there was also a mage and an arrow. But I'm assuming you can unlock these different souls. I'm assuming that's how it works. I really like the mechanic of going to your home base by pushing the home, like the double square button on the Steam Deck on the left hand side. You like fall backwards into your like home realm thing. I think this is really cool. And again, as normal with digital extreme games, or specifically I guess online free-to-play games, this one here has a beautiful, I really like the way the interface is. As you can see here, it's beautiful to look at, but I have no idea what anything is and how I'm meant to get points for any of it. It's very obtuse to start with. I'm sure after putting in 20 hours it'll be super easy, but if you start something new with this really fancy interface, it can be a little bit overwhelming. But generally, I really like how this is shaping up, and I've been really looking forward to finally getting my hands on playing this. And the fact it runs reasonably well on Steam Deck and looks really nice on the OLED makes me a happy chappy for full release and when it's available on Steam and we don't have to worry about using launchers or anything like that. It's going to be great. So yeah, let me know if you've been trying out Soulframe on your Steam Deck or if you've been playing it on PC. Please let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great one.